Welcome to Really Cool Stuff for the Home podcast, sponsored by Homeworks. And now with today's show on all the ways to improve your home is your host, Denise Sanchez.
Hi, everybody. This is Denise Sanchez again. And I wanted to talk today about one of our best, coolest offerings that we have, and that's central vacuums. This is a built-in system in your home. And you plug a hose into the wall and it allows you to clean your home. And it's very, very easy, but we're going to talk about, the makers of it. We're going to talk about how you would do it and all the neat new features of the central vacuum industry. I have with me the maker of the Element Central Vacuum, which is Homeworks' go-to manufacturer, HP Products. This is an American business that started in 1945, and that's 75 years. That's pretty good. Continuous operation, I believe. They're the manufacturers of central vacuums, many different brands, and tubing-related products, which is a pretty interesting side note, a little story I wanted to talk about. And I have with me today Greg Calderone, who is the Vice President and General Manager of HP Products, and Chris Slackford, who is the International Sales Manager. Hi, Greg. Hi, Chris. How are you all doing?
Good to see you. How are you today?
Great. So let's just briefly talk about the company because it's very, very interesting. Greg, I'm going to let you start with that because I know it's an American company. It's been around. It's family owned pretty much, right?
Family-owned company, just going on our third generation. And as you said, established in 1945. I was not established in 1945. I was a little later than that. But it's been a company, it's always been based on customer service. Our forefathers there that started the company, they just had a product. They were actually started building gas conversion systems. So people had coal furnaces in their home and they started changing them over to gas. And that took them into bending little tubes, which started into bending bigger tubes. And then that industry eventually led to some of our customers who were doing bent tubing for vacuum systems in plants, for cleaning out plants and facilities. And they had that idea. Back in about 1955, they said, why can't we build one of these for a house? So that's exactly what they did. They put together a system with a god-awful looking power unit, very industrial looking, but for cleaning homes. And that's kind of how the central vac, kind of got started here. So pretty exciting. But that VacuFlow brand, the original brand, is still in existence today. It's kind of what we go under, that and the Element line, which we added later. So it's been kind of a fun story. Still family, still having a lot of fun. Great company. Like you said, American-made company, mostly in Ohio. So a lot of Midwestern values there.
And also, you have brought to the industry a lot of firsts. I know, like the first turbine, powerhead, and handheld turbine, right? There's some other little firsts too as well. Can you speak about that?
Well, we've always been innovative. Our culture is innovative, so we kind of develop new things. Probably one of the latest new things that we came up with is something we call Vroom, and it's basically a kind of a retractable vacuum that fits under your sink in your kitchen and your bathroom. And the idea is, when you make a quick mess, instead of having to go to the closet to get a broom or a vacuum, which is really a pain to do, you reach into the cabinet, you pull out this little hose. It can stretch out. When you pull it out, it turns on. You vacuum, and then it sucks the hose right back in. So it's done very quick. We call it the 3-second clean. So that's something that we did. Oh, Chris, what was that? Probably in the late 2000, like 2008, 9. And
yeah, we got to be going on 12 years or so with the Vroom. Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of and that started this whole revolution of quick clean for central vacuum, which is this ability to have these vacuums stationed around your home that clean all the little messy areas of your home very quickly without having to go get the gear. Because that really is what people most dislike about vacuuming, is like getting that thing out, doing the cords and unwinding things. And that's usually the biggest pain of it. So we try to make it as convenient as possible.
Yeah, there's like an 80-20 rule here where 80% of the mess really happens in about 20% of the area of your home. And we'll talk about that in a minute more. Now, I do know, back to the tubing part of your company, you also do like the pneumatic systems for banks, right? You do that. A lot of the commercial car washes, you go and you do your vacuuming. They have these intricate systems, you do that. But you also do something else pretty interesting every now and again. For instance, I was there at your factory. I think, I can't believe this. This is probably about 2014, 15. And my son was in Afghanistan, one of his 4 or 5 tours in Afghanistan. And I remember this really hit home. Can you tell us the story about that metal plate? Because I think that's fascinating that your company did this.
Well, as you know, when we got into that series of conflict, we were losing a lot of service people, men and women, to these these bombs, these roadside bombs, that these Humvees would roll over. And the problem is those blasts would blast up inside the cabin and hurt or kill a lot of the people. And Oshkosh Defense, which is a company out of Wisconsin, I believe it's out of Wisconsin, Oshkosh Defense came up with a design where they designed the bottom of instead of the vehicle being flat, they made it like a V, like a boat. And so they made a whole series of devices or vehicles, off-road vehicles, that were designed to roll right over those bombs. And if the bomb would go off, it would deflect to the side instead of hurting the service people inside. So we were very honored to be selected by Oshkosh Defense as one of their main suppliers for the tubing related products. And you talk about the tubing, our tubes were doing things like the gas, hot gases, air intakes. We also did some components, structural components like steps, for these MRAPs is what they were called, in the MATV vehicles, which they still use today. And we still have a huge contract, still work with Oshkosh to develop these devices these vehicles even moving further. But again, it was, we were just honored to do that. And we got letters from service people who had rolled over one of those bombs and, lived to tell the day. Now their vehicle was maybe flipped upside down. They might have been in a ditch, but they were sitting there strapped in, but looking at each other, and they were alive, because that's the way that device was designed. So we're very proud to help our military.
Yeah, well, my son was traveling around in one of those vehicles. And so I can tell you, I was very, very proud to have a connection like that. I was really struck by that. And there's a lot to talk about on central vacuums. One of the things that we've always talked about is how strong a central vacuum is. They're up to 5 times more powerful. How the filtration aspect of it, because everything is exhausted outside of the living area of the home, especially today. That means so much that your indoor air quality. So when you're picking up debris, whatever it may be, you're not putting it back in the air that you're breathing. You're putting it into the filter system. And then if there's any particulates that may escape, it goes out to the exhaust. That is very neat. And it adds value to your home because you have a system. So it's not just a portable vacuum, it's a system. So it adds to your real estate. It also, you said the quick clean, it's cleaning at the speed of light, your new system. And we're going to talk about that because that's what's really revolutionized this industry. And it's just really, is breathing more fresh air to this type of a system. But what it is, you have your main unit, usually in your garage or in your basement. And then from there, you run pipe to each of the rooms, not every single room. And we'll talk about that. And actually, Chris, I want to let you expand on that because I know you can do this a little bit better than me. Tell them how a system kind of works.
Sure. Well, like you said, Denise, you're going to put the unit in the garage or the basement, depending on the type of construction or the part of the country you're in. And then you've got a network of tubing that would run throughout the house. So if you're connecting to your rooms, you're going to put it in your common mess areas, places like your bathroom or your kitchen, sometimes a laundry room. And we have a whole myriad of quick clean devices that we can attach to this. And then you're going to have other ports that you might use for cleaning your whole house. And you can do that, which I'm sure we're going to talk about, with retractable systems, or you can do it with a conventional system where you have a valve and you plug a hose into it. But you hit it on the head. The beauty of the system is no matter how good the filter is in your portable vacuum, you cannot beat exhausting it completely out of the living area. And you can optionally exhaust these outside. So that's better than any filter that you might encounter in any portable vacuum system.
I mean, 100%. Plus, you have no odors returning. So for people like me that love our pets, we don't
Sure.
like vacuuming and having our vacuum smell like our pet, right? So
Yeah, I mean, people keep their portable vacuum stored in a closet, and I always challenge them. I'm like, when you open that closet up, don't you smell the portable vacuum? I'm like, that's what recirculates back in your air.
Exactly. And now that we're spending more time at home because of what's going on, you know, in our world, we are cleaning more frequently. So this convenience aspect is very, very important. So typically, like say you had a 2,100 square foot house, typically a standard system, you would have how many outlets when you would plug your hose into the outlet, Chris?
Well, I mean, if you're assuming that that's on one floor, that's usually done with 3 conventional valves that you could use. You know, you're covering 600 to 800 square feet with a regular 30-foot hose, depending on the layout, of course.
Right. So, and now with our new systems where we have the retractable hose, we can go up to 60 feet. So typically we put in at Homeworks, our typical one is about 50 feet. So now what are we looking at as far as for that 2,100 square foot house?
Yeah, with a 50-foot hose, if you can position it correctly, you can put one location that would cover the 21 square foot house. Now, assuming you can locate it properly, but yeah, you can just put one valve in. So it makes installation easier. And quite frankly, it makes your cleaning easier too, because you pull one hose out and you do the entire floor.
Right. So you have a little mess. You see, you know, the kids and hubby are sitting there on the couch eating, you know, chips, watching the movie. You've got a mess all around that area. So you just pull the hose out instead of thinking about it. Oh, I need to go grab the hose or I need to go grab the vacuum. You just pull the hose out, whip it out and clean around that area and then put your hand over the hose so that it retracts back into the wall. It's that. Right. That makes it so easy.
You have the job done before you can even go to the closet and unwind the cord on the portable vacuum.
Exactly. So maybe the kids might, they won't. Maybe the kids might clean their rooms a little more. So, and then I know that this command, I like, Greg, can you speak about this? Because I understand that, in fact, I saw where y'all used a 3D printer to come up with some innovative ideas. And I'd like to tell the listening audience about that.
Well, you know, typically in the past, when you try to develop a new product, you'd have to make, you know, prototypes, and you'd use glue and tape and all kinds of things to do it. Very difficult. So it's very difficult to try out more than, you know, a few variations. With 3D printing, we literally, you know, have an idea in the morning, and by that afternoon, we're trying that part out. So we can, it's almost like, think about a printer for a paper. You print a letter or a note. We're actually printing parts. So we have ideas, we print these parts, we put them together. Sometimes halfway through the print, we realize it's not going to work and just stop the print and start a new print. And it allows us to do multiple iterations. So we're able to take something that might take a year and probably get it down into a month. It really has changed the way manufacturing. In fact, on our new Chameleon product, some of the parts that we even sent out to our dealers such as you, Denise, are 3D printed. So it has changed the absolute way we think and how our business is run. And we've been able to develop the Chameleon very quickly and go through multiple iterations and multiple trials to make sure that product is rock solid before it ever gets to the consumer's hands.
And on this Chameleon, why did you call it a Chameleon? I think that this is very interesting.
Well, it's a Chameleon because people like Chris and I were not involved. That's why it's called Chameleon.
We did give it the thumbs up, though.
We're both engineers. In fact, Chris was one of the very first people to come up with the concept of Chameleon back as early as 2011. But engineers tend to call things what they do. So, you know, we wanted to call it the retractable hose system, RHS. We were getting really fancy. And what we realized is we're not in marketing. We need to learn a little bit more about marketing. But Chameleon, we picked the Chameleon because a chameleon is an adaptable animal. It adapts to its surroundings, and so does our chameleon. It can move into the garage. It can go under your sink. It can do a lot of different things. And it takes a professional installing entity such as Homeworks to come into your home and to talk to the homeowner about what are your cleaning needs and how do you like to clean your home. And again, don't forget the garage. We also have really cool stuff for the garage.
Man.
that allows you then to go in as a professional and do the installation of this product, to do it properly, so that it basically lasts the life of your home. And that's what the difference is. You're not going to be buying this unit every 3 years. This thing is designed for your home. It's almost like your air conditioning system or your heating system. It's part of your home. It's got far more power than the portables that you'll buy in a store. And again, the big you mentioned is the clean air. It is really, when you vacuum with a central vacuum, you do not see that cloud of dust, and you don't breathe that, you don't smell that. So it's a very healthy way to go. But the Chameleon just seemed to fit that. And then people associate with a chameleon. They know what a chameleon is. They know it's adaptable, and it just kind of made sense. So again, lesson is, don't listen to engineers when you do your marketing. Let us do the prototypes and stuff, but then you need somebody that really knows what they're doing when they come up with the marketing plan.
So, and a little bit about how they work too, is that you have the main unit, and wherever the main unit is, and you have your pipe and your outlets, you run a low volt wire from the main unit all the way to each inlet. So that when you open the door, plug your hose in, or whatever action is necessary, you trip that low volt and it automatically turns on for convenience. And then you can turn it off. And at the end of some hoses, you can turn your system on and off as well. So when you're doing something like this, especially on the retractable system, we've always told people that we can do new and existing homes. And I know that in your neck of the woods, you have basements, so it makes it a little bit easier. So in our neck of the woods, we have foundations. So we do them, but not always can we get to the areas that we want to because we're on foundations. So we have seen we're doing a hybrid where you can maybe take an existing home that has regular outlets, let's say, and you can add one of these. And this would really speaks to being a chameleon, is that now we can have one system where, like, in that 20% of the area of the home that's really, really messy, you put that one long hose in it, and now we can take that hose out of that inlet and now pop it into a regular inlet, and we can clean the rest of the house. But we can also take that hose back into that main inlet. Are y'all still with me? And it sucks the hose up. That's pretty cool. It makes cleaning your house so easy.
You know what, Denise, and what we found too is it's the storing of the hose that most people dislike about central vacuums, right? Yeah. So putting in a hybrid system takes care of the storage of the hose. You don't have to wrap it up. You don't have to stick it under your bed or leave it in your living room like Mr. Calderone used to do. But, and I tell you what, Greg has that system in his house, and he is that guy you're talking about. So he lives on a slab at a lake, and he had a conventional system in, could never put a retractable in, but he found one spot where he could do it. And, I think Greg loves the experience of using it that way.
Yeah, I really feel like I have a whole new system, and I still have all my other equipment that I previously had purchased or taken out of inventory. But I still have all my other equipment, and it still all works because I can still use all the existing valves. And that's the part of this adaptable chameleon concept. So now I have this chameleon with and it only has a 35-foot hose, but I can use that to go through all my other inlets and do all the rest of the cleaning around my house. And when I'm done, it just zips it right back, basically puts itself away, sucks itself right back up into the wall. And again, that is not a mechanism behind your wall. That's something you have to worry is going to break. It's very simple. It actually just goes right through the tubing. Very simple. Just really no issues with it. And it's probably as good as it'll last as long as your house. Probably is no longer than the length of your house, I would imagine.
Right. And speaking of tubing, you don't just go to a big box store and buy plumbing tubing, right? Can you speak about that and why we would not do that?
Oh, Chris, why don't you take that?
Yeah, well, and that's the thing too. Schedule 40 pipe, plumbing pipe is a different animal. This is actually central vac tubing. It's an ASTM standard F2158, some I think is the number, but it's thinner wall. It's got more of a polished finish on the inside for smoother airflow. It's actually less expensive really per foot than Schedule 40 is. So it is a specialty product that you would get at, a central vacuum dealer, for those people that, try to DIY it. But yeah, it's actually specifically made for central vacuum.
And also too, I understand that it's also the interior wall is real slick smooth, so you don't have
Correct.
those burrs that you get with plumbing pipes, so preventing clogging and
Correct.
things. And speaking about that, we not only are installers, but we do service and warranty. So when it comes to clogging, if there's a clog, I would say 99% of the time it's in the hose or the floor tool or whatever attachment you're using to clean the power head. Unless someone's been up in the attic and crushed the pipe, it is rare that we ever see a clog inside the system. One thing is that your tubing is 2 inches and your that goes in the wall, and your hose is a little over 1.25 inches, and then the diameter of your cleaning tools are even a little bit smaller. So it makes common sense that when it goes through, that smaller tubing is going to be fine for the 2-inch. That's pretty much standard that I think everyone sees, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I get asked that question all the time. Well, what do I do if it clogs? But you're right. Clogs are very rare, and also I can't think of a situation where we couldn't resolve a clog. Right?
Wow.
It's not the end of the world if something happens. Somebody sucks up something sticky, and it causes something back up. Almost always, it's a pretty quick remedy if it should happen. So. It's not, I think your portable vacuum is much more likely to be damaged or break than having a clog in a system that would cost you a lot of money to resolve.
That's why it's also important to have your local, installing professional, such as HomeWorks. You need that person to first of all make sure it gets installed properly. Because if you do a bad install can generate clogs if you don't understand how the system works. And so we work, our business is predominantly through dealers such as you, Denise. I think we have 700 in North America or some amount like that, this is what they do, and they take care of that homeowner, and they build that trust, and they do the installation, do the service, and do the warranty. It's just as important as the equipment you're hanging on the wall is the installation job that's done by the local dealer.
Just like anything else. And Chris, I know that you're the international distributor for HP. So how many countries are you involved with over there? And what is their thinking on central vacuums? And have they been doing it a long time?
They've been doing it a long time. I mean, there's a lot of other manufacturers that are over there as well that get involved. We've sold, I think, to at least 24 countries over the years. I mean, predominantly now we probably sell on a regular basis to 6 or 7 different ones. South America, we've got customers in Australia that buy a lot of Chameleon product as well. And then throughout Central Europe. Now, the difference is in Europe, their construction is completely different than ours too. It's mostly concrete walls, concrete floors. They find it pretty odd that we still build homes out of sticks here, as they call it.
Right, yeah.
So the installation is much more challenging. You don't really put in existing homes a central vac. I mean, if you really want it that bad, you see guys out there with cement saws cutting grooves in the floor to run it. But, they're running everything basically in the floor, and then they pour the concrete around it. So it's a different practice than what we would do here. And I've seen it a couple of times just so I could get a handle on it. But it's the existing home market over there is almost zero, basically.
Yeah. Right. And I imagine the Chameleon is really important to them because of the way homes are manufactured, that having one as opposed to, let's say, 3 or 4 inlets would be huge.
We designed the valve with European construction in mind, which is a little different than some of our competitors here in the States have done.
Something else too, I just wanted to mention the Chameleon. The other thing really interesting about Chameleon is Chameleon means chameleon in almost every country in the world.
And that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of interesting. I think in Vietnam it's not. And
we literally sat at my desk and used Google Translate for every language we could think of, and I swear it was about 30 different languages, and it might have a different accent to it, but it all was chameleon. So
chameleon, cool. But it's chameleon because it's adaptable. It's not only adaptable for your home, but it's adaptable for your country, and so that made it also interesting. And a lot of our international partners are actually using that Chameleon. They're leading with the Chameleon. It's kind of the Chameleon is the lead into the home, and it becomes the power unit, and the tubing in the wall becomes secondary to this really cool retractable system
Right.
for cleaning.
Yeah, and what Greg is saying there, Denise, too, it's a different approach to vacuums, right? Everybody in the past has hung a power unit on a wall, and people walk by and they see a power unit and they see a hose that they plug in. We've really focused on the user experience. Greg likes to say, when you turn on your faucet, you just want hot water. You don't care about the hot water tank and how the hot water gets to that. You just want the hot water at the faucet, right? People are interacting with the vacuum when they're using it. They're not really interacting with the tank. So, putting Chameleon together the way we did, we really focused on the user experience and making it much more pleasant, more convenient, more faster, all those things that we thought were important in this industry. And that's a different approach than everybody else, I think, was doing at the time.
And that's what we want. That's what a consumer wants. And another neat product that you have, that even if you don't have a central vacuum in your home, but if you have a nice car or like a clean car, I want you to tell my listeners about the garage vacuum. That is awesome.
Well, all of us have had experience with, some of the devices people use in the garage right now, and they're always falling over. Cords get stuck under your tires. I mean, everyone knows these things. And when you turn them on, you get this big giant cloud of dust. The thing that was interesting about what we learned about the garage was that a lot of times our products, Denise, vacuums are a chore. I mean, sometimes it's like taking out the garbage, right? You got to vacuum the house. There's a few people who love it, but most people don't. What we learned is that people in the garage that have, nice automobiles or motorcycles, or, the garage is one of the fastest growing markets in this country right now, where people are doing renovations with the flooring and the cabinets. They're putting TVs and audio video systems out in their garage. It just becomes another room in your home. It's not just a place for your car. And so we say, instead of a portal in and out of your home, it's now a destination. Honey, I'm going to go to the garage and you're not going to see me for 6 hours. All right. So vacuuming your car is not a chore anymore. It's a passion. I mean, my baby is in the garage. Okay. So this retractable system in the garage now allows you to have this really unbelievable cleaning experience for your car, for your motorcycle, or just maybe your garage floor. And we designed this, Denise. What's different is we locate this out by the garage doors. So, when it's a nice day, I don't want to vacuum inside my garage. I get to vacuum out of my driveway. And so this hose, it's typically the shortest is 30 foot. It can go as much as 60-foot hose. People use them for RVs and all kinds of things. So now I'm using it when I'm cleaning my toys. And it's a passion, and it's fun, and it's different than the chore inside the house. And it's again, one of the fastest growing markets. And we believe that this is, the way to go. If you care about your garage and you care about what's in your garage, you got to take a look at the Garage Track Vac. It's incredible.
And this is also one product that you do have as a DIY that can be pretty safely done, because the pipe is outside of the walls, right? So you have a 2-inch pipe, that's strapped on the wall, but you have one shot. It makes it real easy to do. And maybe some questions from, a dealer like us, we can kind of help along, but you get all your materials that you need, your machine, everything.
We do have video. In fact, Mr. Slackford did a lot of our video for us. So we have some of those to help our consumers. It usually requires that you're comfortable getting on a ladder, but you're right. In new construction, people put this behind the wall, but for someone who has an existing home that does not have a central vac, you can easily add this. We just had shot a video. We had somebody do it for the very first time. Now, we were there to kind of instruct them, but they did it in 1 hour.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty quick.
I thought that was pretty impressive, because I really did not think they could do it in an hour. I was thinking more like an hour and a half to 2 hours for somebody doing it the first time, but with a little instruction, and they were pretty handy. It's not like you don't have to be crazy handy, but you do need to be able to work a drill,
right, and
get on a ladder.
Or have Homeworks come and install it for you.
Or Homeworks and that's right, exactly.
And this is a great time of year to be thinking about that too, for the holidays. Maybe typically it's for dad, right? Because he's the one with the car, passion. I mean, some moms out there, maybe a 16-year-old boy with his new car, I don't know, but and also for Father's Day, it makes great gifts for that as well. We've had a couple people that have the moms have surprised dad by having us come in and sneak during the day and install it for them. And when he came home, he got to see that. That's been a lot of fun. But it's making the industry so different because it's not just a vacuum. It's so much more. It's a system. It's a system, right?
Yeah, I got to tell you,
it's a really cool product for the home.
Yes,
it is.
It really is.
It's a real cute story. Yesterday, I was on a Zoom call with one of our business partners, and he was talking. He asked me whether or not we could put a coin, the coin-operated device on the vacuum. I'm like, why would you want that? He goes, because my kids keep coming over to my house and using my garage track vac.
That's funny.
So
I love that.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, there is really a lot more that we could talk about. I know we're running out of time, and I'm keeping you a little bit longer than I promised. But it really did go by so fast because there's so much to talk about the central vacuum industry, about your company, about you, Chris, and Greg. I mean, y'all have had a rich career in the central vacuum business, and I've known y'all for a long time, and you're great people and great to work with. Always been a lot of fun as well when we have our meetings. But I think we might have to do another segment real soon to go over some other things. What do you think?
I love it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, again, HP Products, American company, 75 years strong. And come to Homeworks. We also, homeworkssa.com. We have videos. Go to our central vacuum product line, and you'll see all these videos talking about the things that we've been talking about, and the Vroom and the garage vac and the Chameleon as well. Thank you so much for coming, and I'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Denise.
Thank you, Denise. Take care. Bye-bye.